G'day, mate. Welcome back to Factorio with me, Jedek. So, it's episode 60½, which means it's a recap episode, which means I need to run through what's happened in the week, and it's been one busy week. So, to start off the week, well, actually, let's just start off with our normal recap, what the series is. So, if this is the first video you've watched, welcome. What this is, it's a modified SpaceX playthrough. Recently, I say recently, and it's getting further and further in the behind, the past, the channel hit 5,000 subscribers, and me and my infinite wisdom decided, you know what, I'm going to do something great. I'm not going to launch a rocket per subscriber, I'm going to launch a full SpaceX spaceship per subscriber. Not really doing the maths beforehand and realizing that was 23 rocket launches per subscriber. Here I am, 60 episodes in, 60½ episodes in, and we're up to 98 launches total. That's 98 subscribers. We've got a list of all the subscribers right here that I have successfully launched off to space. Actually, Jeremy Nalsi, and maybe Sora, Soya were the last two launches. Jeremy's definitely new. Soya, maybe. I'm not sure. I'm reading them off as they come up. Normally there's a lovely GUI, but we'll get to that. So, start of the week, our one rocket solo couldn't keep up. So we had to double our rocket solos. So we went from one rocket solo, this poor rocket solo has done 2,584 rocket launches total. This is why I'm not launching a rocket per subscriber, because if I was, I'd be mostly done by now. This is why we went bigger and better. So, launching off a whole bunch of rockets, one for every, one full spaceship for every subscriber. And like I said, we're up to 98 launches. So that's where the week started. We had to double our rocket solo. So we went from one rocket solo launching, actually it's probably easier in here, launching all the components to a second rocket solo that was launching the hull components, because we've got to launch 10 of them, a couple of protection fields, a couple of thrusters, because we've got to launch 4 of them, and a couple of fuel cells, because we've got to launch 2 of them. So we distributed the load a little bit and started simplifying life a little bit. So that's how the week started. On top of that, on top of that, what do we do next? Next thing actually happened. Next thing that happened in the week is over here, the week prior, we'd built a giant, massive, massive module build. So this is outputting a whole bunch of speed modules, a whole bunch of productivity modules now, because I changed the recipes, and a whole bunch of efficiency modules, with some backup speed modules in case we turn off the efficiency modules, because that's something else we added this week. What actually happened is we end up with so many modules back at the base, especially in the efficiency modules, which normally you never ever build. But for SpaceX, for our fast and light drive, I needed some efficiency modules, some ridiculous amounts of efficiency modules. So we started making them off-site and shipping them back to base. So we set up I finally set up a train to actually come down here, and we've just had one pull up, which loads in stacked modules. So we're making module level 3s, and we're making them in a stacked variety. When I say stacked, it means in this lovely recipe here, right there. So we run stacked recipes, which means a stack of 25. Think of it rather than an individual item on a belt. It's like a box of items on a belt, which also means that assemblers take, because we're stacking into stacks of 25, they take 25 times as long. So one of these assemblers, which we're actually going to go find one locally elsewhere in a second, I'll click on it, but they take like 1,500 seconds to craft one single module. They're ridiculously slow. Hence, you can see that this one's been pumping away forever, and look, it's only made 64 total in like several hours. But yeah, you can see we have, 16 lots there. That's 16 multiplied by 25. That's what? 500? Roughly, that's 40 times 25. That's what, 600? 600 modules in that one train. 650 modules. It keeps counting up, really, really quickly. So we added this train. It's picking up modules from down here, bringing them all the way back to the base and dropping them off in our lovely train network, which is getting more and more... It looks like rubbish. It's getting more and more confused as the week goes on. On top of that, the other thing we added this week is we changed over our main bus. A lot of people have been talking about my smelting off-site. Hang on. Let's go with concrete. Oh, there's normal concrete sticking through. That makes me feel a little bit better. Nope. That's a giant fail. So, we started moving a lot of our smelting, not off-site, but outside the base. We were bringing in ore and smelting it on-site, which worked. It was perfectly fine. There was nothing wrong with that setup, but I wanted to up the ante. So, again, we swapped over our smelting to use compressed ore. So, again, we're putting normal ore into these stackers. We're outputting stacked ore, so that is a stack of 25 ore. We're then running it into a smelter, and we're then compressing it. Well, we're taking a stack of copper ore and outputting a stack of copper plate. Same thing that happened with iron, where she did iron all the way over here. I didn't end up doing steel, because we're only using one belt of steel, and this was mainly to simplify the bus. I wanted to... Come on, robots. There we go. I wanted to simplify the bus because we did have 6 lanes of iron, 6 lanes of copper, 4 lanes of green circuits, and again, like I said, I was just going to simplify things. So what we were doing is, rather than bringing in large amounts of iron and copper and then splitting off the bus, continuously having lots and lots of splitters through the bus, I ended up changing over to this system. So this is one single belt, but you're going to remember this belt has a density of 25 belts, and then we could just do one single split off. It also meant certain things that we could keep compressed, like green circuits. Again, you know, green circuits, rather having half a second crafting time, that has a 25 times multiplier on the crafting time, so it's now 12.5 seconds for one stack of green circuits. Although with all my productivity and speed modules, it still happens just about instantly. And then we can run out our green circuits as a compressed belt. As you can see, there are spots where we're decompressing it because it needs to be decompressed, but wherever I can keep them compressed and process the next step as a compressed belt, I am doing so. So we changed over the main bus, which just simplified the main bus. It was a whole lot less splitters we were using, which was just saving UPS. At the same time, we also swapped over red circuits. Red circuits is another really big consumer, which we had like 6 builds out here or something to provide the amount of red circuits we needed. We've now gone down to one single build that's now doing 3 purple belts. So, what's that? 225 red circuits per second into the main bus, which is now finally saturating everything on the main bus. At the same time, I went a little bit silly with the productivity module 6s. So we upgraded all of our steel smelting to prod mod 6s. I haven't done stone brick. We'll do stone brick really quickly. Done. Upgraded... sorry about that. Upgraded those to productivity module 6s. Same time, because we were finally had a surplus of a lot of modules, upgraded like red and green science to prod mod 6. Upgraded... This engine build's not done. Oh, we did the end of the build. We spent so many of them, we ran out of modules. So did certain parts of the build, or certain parts of the base with productivity module 6s. Blue science, another great example. We've done, you know, engines, electric engines, robot frames, purple science, of course, yellow science. Just upgraded what we could, where we could with productivity modules. We also had an issue. We actually had too many modules for the first time ever in, you know, 60 odd episodes, weeks and weeks and weeks. What are we up to? Like 10 weeks? 10 weeks? I actually ran into a situation where I had way too many modules in stock. I had way too many efficiency modules, and that was actually the really big one. And actually, no, we had a lot of speed modules in stock, far too many speed modules in stock as well. So, we have this roboport, which is hooked into the circuit network, which is bringing a signal wire all the way down to here, which is then wired into 1, 2, 3, 4 belts. And what's actually happening is these belts are cut off whenever we end up with too many efficiency modules back at base. Now, we are importing efficiency modules into the main base to then export them back out to our fast and light drive over here, which is actually our fast and light offside build over here, which is absolutely swamped in efficiency modules, but that's perfectly fine. It needs to be swamped. We've actually run into a situation where productivity modules are the slowest part of this build, which we're probably going to have to look at upgrading in the not so distant future. Another thing that happened this week is I went into our main base and we did have this lovely module build. Nope. Up here that had been running for basically forever, and I turbocharged it. We ripped up and replaced all the smelting. Went with compressed recipes again. This is what it takes to get max rate calculator for that. So this is doing 23 green circuits per second at a stack. So this single build here is doing 575 green circuits per second. But that means it needs 10 iron and 10 copper per second, again as a stacked recipe of 25. So this here is doing 250 iron per second, 250 copper per second, which we're then shoving into this machine using our productivity module 6s with our beacon mark 3s with our speed module level 6s to pump out 575 green circuits per second. Yeah, big numbers, which we were then converting into red circuits, blue circuits, and then finally into our lovely little module build. Our lovely little module build is flying through, creating lots and lots of speed modules. We're happy little speed modules. Also actually even making speed module 4s again as a compressed recipe as a stack of 25. As you can see here, this has a 3,000 second crafting time. This machine here has a crafting speed of 43.8, and it still takes forever to do one single craft. But yeah, we're now making efficiency modules, productivity modules, and efficiency modules all on site. You can see this little build is trying its absolute hardest. You know, this is the animation speed of these things because the crafting time is ridiculously long, 375 seconds. The animations, actually, can we go? Actually, the animations for this one's really fast. I don't get it why. But here we go for productivity modules, like 1,500 seconds. The animation's slow right the way down. But yeah, so we're making more and more modules in the actual base, which led to a couple of interesting things. One, I had to start making plastic in the base in vast stacked amounts. In fact, our red circuit build needed, and this is built to ratio, even though it looks weird in the middle. That was a ratio thing. It needs 46, so we'll call it 50 plastic per second in a stacked belt, which is 1,500 plastic per second, which led us to our very, very interesting oil builds. And this is a build here. You know, we have a single pump jack put into a single refinery into 2 chemical plants, which get coal put in, again, stacked recipe, so we're doing 25 coal per inserter swing, which then output 25 plastic bar in one hit, which is a really weird way of doing your oils, but it honestly works, and it's honestly the best solution I've come up with so far. So yeah, this became our new way of doing plastic. Just bring the coal in and just run one pump jack to one oil refinery to 2 chem plants. Do make sure that you check the speed of your pump jack, because you can see this one's not working terribly fast. This one's going flat out because his expected resources are 28.9 compared to this one's 223 per second. Same with this one, like 26.1. So we've had to add a few speed modules to some of these to keep them up to speed. But yeah, this became our plastic build to make our red circuits. Also got an acid build over there to do the acid for the blue circuits. Again, this is a ridiculous amount of blue circuits. You have no idea. It's 11 per second multiplied by 25. That's what, 275 blue circuits per second? To put that in the reference of blue belts, that's 275 divided by 45 equals 6 blue belts of blue circuits out of this one tiny little build. So yeah, we started making more and more modules off-site. As you can see, I even have these lovely builds here, which are just burning up any extra modules we find in the... any extra circuits we find in the logistics network. So, unfortunately, it looks like we're out of red circuits. It might be time next week that I start retiring a couple of these. But yeah, there's just a few. Going down throughout the list, what else do we have? Oh, rocket fuel. Rocket fuel was another thing we ran into. We did have our original oil build, which was making rocket fuel, which again got a productivity module 6 treatment. We've been using a lot of productivity module 6s this week. A lot. So yeah, this got a thorough upgrade because we were chewing through rocket fuel, and it was actually our bottleneck. If you remember, a long time ago, we were bringing in rocket control units and low density structures from off-site. Again, these were made off-site. Low density structures up here. This all produces one little pile of low density structures, which again come in as a stacked recipe. Our rocket control units, same story. Another little build down here to make rocket control units as a stacked recipe. Rocket fuel we never got around to doing. So we set up this, well, we'd had this rocket fuel build forever that was keeping up. It was doing an alright job. And then it was time to upgrade things. So I have, and this is again the ridiculousness of this. We're using, again, stacked recipes. I have one oil refinery which is outputting, after we crack down everything, and you can see that our solid fuel has a really weird big symbol because, again, it's a stacked recipe. This is outputting 100 and... No. One assembler. What? Oh, that's right. I had to blank that one. You know what? You're blanked. You don't have to actually be there. You can come out. There we go. I just saved myself a couple of productivity module 6s. This is outputting 6 per second multiplied by 25 equals, what's that, a lot? 180? 120? I don't know. My maths is not working. It is 3 AM at the time I record this. So, a ridiculous amount of rocket fuel right here into this box, which is enough to fuel our rocket silos. Our rocket silos also got an upgrade this week because even though we'd gone from 1 rocket silo to 2 rocket silos, the rocket silo was still the bottleneck. These rocket silos, well, that one just launched and it's ready to go again. Yeah, with the productivity modules and the really fast speed modules, these load incredibly fast. The catch is they were still too slow. So we end up upping the ante again, and now I have one single rocket silo for every single one of these rocket parts. And that's how we've been launching things. Now, at the end of the week, we actually ran into a situation where our fusion reactors is what's holding us up. So all of these are waiting on this one guy to get one fusion reactor, which is now new bottleneck. Fusion reactors, it turns out, require 100 portable fusion reactors. And it turns out my little build that could not fast enough and has been holding us up ever since. We did upgrade that at the end of the week, but it is still the slowest part of the build because, of course, I need to make 100 of these to then make one single fusion reactor to then launch it in space. So that's currently the bottleneck. What else did I miss? That's pretty much it. We did have a whole pile of extra modules in the base being... Well, we've done it again. We have 3.4k speed modules, which means our little train that could has just unloaded a load again, which means this build. You, out of my way. We have this build here, which is basically eating speed module 3s into speed module 4s, into speed module 5s, into speed module 6s, as fast as it humanly can, or possibly can. And I actually think at the rate this build's going, I might need to double it. So yeah, it's eating speed modules. We also have the exact same for productivity modules. That's a lot of productivity modules. Why are you off? Oh! You only do 4 to 5 to 6. You don't do 1 to... Oh. Well, we want to duplicate that really quickly, and we want to change your recipe to that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. That one. That one. That one. Change that from that to that. Change you to that. Oh. No. Don't change that one across. Just that one. That one to there, to there. Change that recipe, empty that box, empty that box. You're just bringing in blue circuits, blue circuits, blue circuits. Yep. So, we needed one of these builds, it turns out, as well, to chew through the 5.8k productivity module 3s that we suddenly have in the base. 2.8k speeds, they're being chewed through. The efficiency modules are basically just being chewed through for the fast and light. They're not really chewed through for anything else. So yeah, we're making a ridiculous amount of modules. I'm finally in a sort of a situation where I'm happy with our speed module to productivity module ratios. In saying that, as I did mention, some rocket silos. There's also a couple of rocket silos down here that technically every single one of these needs a whole bunch of speed module 6s in them because apparently they're running on speed module 3s. But yeah, we have a certain fusion reactor problem I need to worry about first. Speaking of fusion reactors, we also, a constant boo-boo in my face is I got my fusion reactors down here out of order, so I have been spending time this week blueprinting down new ones to line everything up beautifully. Much happier. And before I forget, you don't have water input. You don't have water input. You don't have water input. Done. And lastly, solar panels. We did finally upgrade all our solar panels to Mark III this week. Yeah, so now we're waiting to make more and more solar panels to start upgrading them to Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV. Mark IV, which is a very, very slow process because our solar panel build, which did get a general machine upgrade, is just slow, okay? This whole build, which now I look at it, might be able to be sped up again. Yeah, this whole build is just generally slow. I'm not too worried about power. We are... just had a giant drop in production, but okay. We are pretty good for power. We're not using all that much solar, and honestly, the accumulators don't even turn on. Yes, I am running in full day mode, but my issue is the solar panels are all ratioed out. Who cares? And it just makes it easier for you guys to see rather than having the constant day-night cycle. Anyway, with that said, I think that's where we're up to this week. Plan is for next week to... Nope. Was it a module train? No, okay, so it's just you guys... Oh, we just did a launch. That's what it is. So we finally made our one fusion reactor that could, and all the rocket silos went off at once. So they all need to be refilled. We did 99. Punisher! Oh, and Nico Didi? And Jeremy Nalsi. Yeah, so in one episode we did Punisher, we did Nico, and we did Jeremy, and maybe Sawyer. I don't know. But yeah, we're finally at the stage where the base is really starting to accelerate. I've even actually had to turn on an automated option in... Nope, not that one. Turn off the pop-ups and turn on auto continue because I was going through and clicking them every single time, but now it's just got to the stage where it's going off so fast that I can't keep up. Output priority left. We want one of them, and one of them, and one of them. But yeah, we're definitely accelerating through the base. We're definitely accelerating through the series. We're getting there slowly. There's been some big upgrades this week. Like at the same time, I think my train. Which train? This train? This train. This train. this train. One of my trains, this train. Okay, my trains are boo-booed. Oh, the inserters are holding the wrong things. One of the things that happened this week is we did expand our modules, our Beacon Mark III build. That needs to be ticked. And we've actually changed the whole... Oops. The whole train over to start carrying Beacon Mark IIIs, because we're really at the point where Beacon Mark IIIs are the new norm. Module Mark VIs are not the new norm yet, but I am hoping by the end of next week we can swap over those as well. I think the next big goal for next week is probably going to be putting down a Roboport in here somewhere, so this lot can actually get built. One there, let's say, and one down there. I do think the goal for next week is probably going to be, well, fixing our fusion reactors. At the same time, I'm actually hoping we can start launching some supporter components, because one of the two things I did promise everybody, and somebody shoot me in the head next time I decide to make a promise like this. I did promise everybody that any supporter of the channel, so any YouTube member, any Patreon supporter or Twitch subscriber who financially support the channel, I'm going to give them a bigger and better quality spaceship. They, of course, are going to get their subscriber spaceship. Everybody's entitled to one of those. Everybody who clicks subscribe right from the start of the series all the way to the end. I am using the YouTube API to pull your names out of YouTube if I possibly can, if you have the settings set to public. And you're consequently getting a ship with your name on it. Any of my supporters are actually getting a slightly better quality spaceship. You know, rather than being a hull made out of steel, it's made out of titanium. Rather having, you know, Energy Shield Mark IIs for your protection shield, you've got Shield Mark IIIs. Rather having, what's that? Thrusters. Yeah, thrusters are basically, you know, twice as expensive. That's what I'm looking for. Fuel cells. Rather than you getting rocket fuel, they're getting nuclear fuel. So a little bit of better quality spaceship. The only thing I cheap out on, because everybody's already getting the best quality stuff, is the fast and light drive. Supporters only get a stock standard fast and light drive, because everybody has the best fast and light drive there is. So, you know, the price for these two are exactly the same. But yeah, it does mean that I'm hoping next week we can start launching off supporter components. I also need to work out how to wire up all these silos so I can turn them off. Because when I launch a supporter spaceship, I need to turn all these guys off first, so they don't accidentally misfire whilst I'm launching a supporter spaceship. Because, yeah, we have pre-made quite a few components for the supporter ships. In fact, a lot of these chests have 10 components ready to go. You don't. What are you missing? Oh, nuclear fuel. Okay, we need to go look at the nuclear fuel. But I think all these are running. No, hull components. You're short on titanium. You're not short on titanium. You're short on room. Oh, you got 96 out of 100 in there. That's pretty good enough, but okay, fine. There you go. So yeah, I'm going to have to go look at rocket fuel between episodes and work out how to get more nuclear fuel being made. Nuclear fuel, not rocket fuel. Nuclear fuel is right here. The build's doing its best. The build is now doing its best with Speed Module 6s. Because we have no shortage of fuel, so it's just a matter of time. But yeah, that's the point I'm up to. This is where I'm going to leave this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, do hope you're enjoying. By the way, if you click the subscribe button, not only will you get a SpaceX spaceship, it also means that every single time I'm completing a spaceship, my silo actually outputs science. And it is one science pack for every person who doesn't have a spaceship currently. And although these numbers look pretty good, I am burning through science packs fairly heavily. You know, we're into the mining productivity researchers now. We're up to 26 for mining productivity, 100 mining productivity 100 for our mini-me's, our little mining drone people. Where nope, they're all idle. Are you guys busy? Some of them are busy. This one should be busy. Some of them are busy. They're not working hard enough. I think that's the takeaway I have. Hey! This one has some busy ones. In fact, this one needs a lot more of them being busy. Yeah, we're running short on copper for some reason. I need to investigate this. Oh, we've got a whole bunch of them stuck. Yeah, they're not the greatest at trying to mine underneath builds. They get a little bit confused sometimes. I think the easiest answer is just have more of them. But yeah, we're up to mining productivity 100 for those guys, and we still have some very expensive solar panels I need to research still. Yeah, so by all means, click the subscribe button. As always, if you like the video and you want to see more of this sort of stuff, click the like button. And with that said, I'm out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you're enjoying, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's episode. All right, bye.